morning. Then it's whatever, 5 minutes off a recess, the whole recess, 10 minutes off. You know, when are the parents involved, you do not want to send them to the principal's office too easily. This needs to be when you've exhausted all of your other options. I can tell you, I've never sent anyone to the principal's office in 20 years, ever, unless they were fighting at recess, and that's a different story. But I did take them to the principal's office for this reason, because I handled my discipline. You know, but if you have this rapport going in your class, you build the relationships, and you're teaching them, and you're supporting them, and you're there, you're totally present. Never have your cell phone out where they can see it. Don't be looking at anything you don't need to look at during class. Don't grade even when they're in the room. You just give them your full attention, okay? They will respect you back, okay? But I did take them to the principal's office for this. If I had a student who got in trouble a lot, but they've been really good, and we hit a goal, okay, so it's like Marshall, let's say at parent-teacher conferences, we had to talk about something he's been doing, and we're working on it, he gets better, and he gets better, and he gets better, and his team starts getting points because he's doing this thing and that thing. They want attention. Oftentimes, kids who get in trouble, they want attention. They'll take the good, they'll take the bad, they'll take whatever you give them. So, I like to do this. I like to say, and the principal knew me well enough to know I do this. Marshall, you're coming with me. And it's like, I was there all the time last year. We're gonna go see Mr. Womack. And I was like this, like trying to think, what did I do, right? And this is, I wouldn't leave the students. I'd always have a para in the room, and they knew what I'm doing. And I'd go in, we need to see Mr. Womack right away. And he knew. And I'd say, do you know what Marshall did? He went 3 weeks without a card punch. His team earned these points because he was a team player, when he was the encourager, he solved problems, he did this, he did that, he did. And all of a sudden, and then Mr. Womack will be, he would go in and say, do you know how proud I am of you? That's like being, and he would always relate it to baseball. That's like being at the bottom of the ninth, and you're playing against your rival team, and the bases are loaded, and you go up, and instead of striking out, you hit a grand slam home run. I am so proud of you. I want to tell you, that makes an impression on a kid like Marshall. Because sometimes you can get them to be good for so long, but then they can slip. Especially if they come back from spring break, they can slip. But you do that, do you think that Marshall's going to be pretty good after that? Oh yeah. He went into the principal's office to be complimented, not reprimanded. Writing a note home is a good thing to do too. Know their currency. Know if it matters to them. I've done that with test scores too. Someone who didn't pass at all on the test, and then they got their test scores up to above average or exemplary. And I was like, do you know what he did? And we've done this before, where we've given them they're the first people in the whole school to learn their score because they did so well. They worked so hard that year. And it's like, seriously, there are tears, like happy tears. The kids crying, principal's crying, I'm tearing up, you know, and we're just like, do you know that you're the first student in this whole entire school to learn your score? Do you know what you did? And then it's like the bottom of the ninth, you know, here we go. I didn't do it very often, but when I did it, it was unforgettable. Isn't that cool? So think about that. Think about that. But try to solve your problems on your own. Now, there are times, don't feel like a failure. You need to get the principal involved. If you've got a student throwing a chair, you need to get the principal involved. This is in an ideal setting, okay? And it takes time to get everything going. But once you have it going and you have that trust set, now this student that Megan was telling you about is someone who I think she could say jump and he'd say how high because they've established that kind of trust, okay? But you want to foster it. Also, you want to strengthen your strengths. You've got those students that are so good all the time. Be sure to privately say, do you know that I have learned I can always count on you? You always follow the rules. You are the first to line up. You are the first to have your hand up. Or whatever. You know, I've noticed you are such a leader. You know that I can count. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that. You could write a note. You can say it. However you do it. Privately. And you know what happens then? You're not going to lose them towards the end of the year. Again, after spring break, when they start getting weary. Because we all do, right? Let me show you something.